Hey, my name is Thomas and look what I've got here, the Fuji X-E4. I'm a long-time Fuji X-E3 shooter. I just got this camera now. It is on the market since about 1.5 years. And finally, I've got one and I'm going to tell you 5 things that I love and 4 things maybe that I hate about this camera. So have a walk with me.
Just like the song that you were singing. Oh, you got me begging. Oh, you got me. Let me see you walking.
Number 1, significance. Yes, I think this is a super significant camera in today's market because it's the only digital system camera with a classic user concept, you know, with the classic dials and buttons on it, that takes lenses with an aperture ring, and it's designed for that sort of shooting. Like there's nothing else like this, maybe save Leica M, but the Leica M still has a very different concept. So kudos to Fuji for keeping on with this user concept. Number 2, it's again about the design and maybe the concept, but this camera, I mean the X-E2, the X-E3, they all followed the same concept already, but the X-E4 adds this super reduced sort of classic lines to it. So the X-E3 still looks a little bit more like a practical tool. This is really a super reduced design piece of a camera. So you can argue it's not as easy to grip or it has some shortage in terms of ergonomics, but the design, this classic design, makes more than makes up for that. So I really love the design of the X-E4.
X-E4 has 7 buttons, joystick, no rear dial, only the front dial remains. X-E3 has 9 buttons, which is 2 more, joystick as well and the rear dial. X-E4 also misses the AF switch in the front. But again, I do know this camera is absolutely not for everyone, but I love the X-E4 for taking simplicity to the extreme, just because so many other cameras have all those extra buttons already if you really need them. The X-E4 does stand out even within the Fuji range, and that's the great thing.
This is, by the way, how I do switching the autofocus or manual focus mode. Just swipe. You can assign various functions to the swipe. Here is film simulation, and here comes autofocus, and then you can go through the settings. Again, on the X-E3, where have I got it? Here. Here you can do the same thing just with that switch here. What I like, number 3, the lens selection. Yeah, this is a Fuji camera, so it takes all the Fuji X mount lenses and the selection is gorgeous. Not only you have got all the Fujinon lenses with the beautiful aperture rings, a beautiful set of prime lenses, both 10 years old and then also some more modern designs, but you also have a huge choice of third-party lenses. I reckon it's bigger than any other APS-C system when it comes especially to prime lenses. Interesting fast lenses or even wide-angle primes or whatever like that. The lens selection that goes for all Fuji X-mount cameras is a big plus.
Let me see you walking.
Today we're here in the city center of Heusden. It's a very small, very old Dutch town in the south of the Netherlands, and we've got windmills, we've got canals and water and boats, everything that tourists think makes the Netherlands a great travel country. So I will share some pictures that I take with the new X-E4 from Heusden in this video.
Just like the song that you
Number 4, video features. I know these cameras are not really made with video in mind. For that you want maybe the XS10 or something. But if you're shooting video, this camera has two distinct advantages over the X-E3. Number 1, you've got this tilty flippy screen like this, so you can film yourself if you want to. And number 2, 4K recording up to 30 minutes. On the X-E3 there was a limit 10 minutes, and that's really insane, and it gets in your way very often. So even if you're just a casual video shooter, the X-E4 is a great upgrade over the X-E3. Last thing I love about this camera is actually, it doesn't have to do with photography, it's the Wi-Fi feature. So you can connect this with, for example, your iPhone or Android smartphone with a Fuji app. Yes, you could do the same thing with the X-E3, but with this camera I find the connection is much more stable. It works all the time, I never have any failures. With the X-E3 it's a constant gamble. Will it work or not? So the Wi-Fi capabilities have been improved very well, and I really love that. Bonus thing, what I love is the P setting here on this dial. The X-E3 didn't have it. Remember, the X-E3 has the small lever here that puts it on fully automatic mode. Why do you want automatic mode? I never shoot in automatic mode, but if I hand over the camera to someone, it's sometimes nice to just, you know, put it on automatic mode. Everything will be somewhat okay. The problem with the X-E3 and the lever was, if you use the lever, it would default to JPEG only. There was no way to shoot in RAW if you're on full automatic. Here we've got the P setting where it makes sense on this dial. It puts it on full automatic mode, aperture priority, everything is automatic. Still you've got RAW. I love it.
If I was smart, I'd find you a star, and we could be in love, lighting up the dark. But there's nothing I can do, I can never get to you.
Number 1 thing that I really hate about the X-E4, no IBIS, no in-body stabilization. That's such an oversight from Fuji. I know many Fuji models don't have the IBIS, but that doesn't make it any better. I think we have got 2022, every camera should have an IBIS by now. You want it to take long exposures with even with fast lenses, for example, in low light, or yeah, if you've got a wide angle lens and IBIS, you can even have some motion blur in your shots in the evening. It's a super important feature, and this camera doesn't have it. People say it's because of the size, but yeah, the XS10 is also pretty compact camera, and that one has got IBIS in it, so it can be done. What do I hate more? Well, we talked about that this camera has a reduced design. Some buttons are missing compared to the X-E3, but the bigger problem that I have is the buttons are super small. They're really kind of not nice to operate and press, especially these. They also feel a little bit cheap. Compare this with the new Leica M10 or M11 bodies. They also have a very reduced set of buttons, but they have nice big buttons. So this I don't like about the X-E4. Price performance. These cameras are not super expensive, brand new. It's around 900 euros currently. Still, it's a lot of money if you compare the feature set, for example, with the Fuji XS10. So it is expensive to upgrade also from the X-E3. Shop around used, find a good deal, then this camera is maybe worth the money, but for the new price, I personally wouldn't buy it. Things I hate. Well, hate is always a hard word. Let's call it things that disappoint a little bit. The image quality of the X-E4 is the same as the X-E3. Nothing really changed. This is a 26 megapixel sensor. I get it's maybe faster readout or whatever is the advantage, but image quality is exactly the same as before. Dynamic, low light performance, everything, even resolution. You don't see a difference between 26 and 24 megapixels. You will never see that. So it's exactly the same as before. And And when I say slight disappointment, yeah, that's maybe enough for many people to not upgrade, because, you know, if everything about the new camera is more slight, nice to have features, but nothing substantial has changed, it makes a lot of people think, yeah, I can keep the old one, right? One small thing I don't like about the X-E4, the position of the joystick. On the X-E3 it was up here. If you hold the camera naturally like this, it's easy to get to the joystick here. It's awkward to get to the joystick here. They should have kept the position of the X-E3 here. So these are the things I love and hate about my Fuji X-E4. Is it worth it? Time for the verdict. You might remember I did a video about the Fuji X-E3 already about 1.5 years ago when this was just announced. Back then it was around 900 euros for a brand new X-E4 and the used X-E3 was 350 euros. So you're looking at an upgrade that was about 500, 550 euros. No, it's not worth it. But now you can get these cameras used for like 650-ish if you're lucky. And funnily, the prices for used X-E3s have risen a little bit already, so they're around 400. So the upgrade is only 250 euros by now. And then, yes, I'm personally very happy with it. I love this super reduced classic design. I think the camera just looks more classy even than the X-E3, which is already a beautiful camera. And I love the additions and the video features and stuff like that. So a lot of that is just nice to have. There is nothing super important, but for me it's worth it. It's a super cool shooter, and also remember it's the last camera of this sort of design and user interface on the whole market. So kudos to Fuji again. I cannot say it often enough. If you love this sort of cameras, buy one, because otherwise Fuji will think no one appreciates it, and that would be a very, very big loss if they stop this line after the X-E4. So overall, for me this camera works a lot. If you are on a budget and you've got an X-E3, there's no real need to upgrade, but sometimes, you know, you value the things that you can have. They are nice to have, and just appreciate them. That's it for today. I hope you found this useful, maybe even interesting. If you did so, then please leave a like as always. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet. Hit the small bell button for notifications. If you've got any questions or comments, write something in the comment section below. I love to read all your comments and I will happily answer every single one of them. You know that. So have a great time, live long and prosper, and I see you in the next video. Bye.